It is Friday, October 17th. Taking on Titus. Not an easy task taking on Democrat Dina Titus in the 1st District, but we are going to meet the Republican who says you need to send her to Congress. We're going to go one-on-one with Annette Teijeiro today. And then a big win for a Republican running in Assembly District 34. Her victory before a judge. It is getting nasty between Republican Victoria Seaman and Democrat Megan Smith. If it is Friday, we are tilting right. Follow me. We got a great show for you today.
Live from Studio B, it's What's Your Point? It's Tilt Right Friday. From the right, Amy Tarkanian. Your host, Jeff Gillen.
Up next, she could have the toughest job on election night, defeating popular Democrat Dina Titus. We'll talk with Republican Annette Teijeiro, candidate for Congressional District 1. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. The conventional wisdom is that Democrat Dina Titus is a shoo-in for re-election in Congressional District 1. Her district in the central part of the valley is heavily Democratic. Titus's supporters say she's been a good advocate for Las Vegas and Washington. Our next guest would beg to differ. We are joined today by Titus's Republican opponent, Annette Teijeiro. Welcome. Thanks for coming on our program today.
Very nice for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I live in Congressional District 1, and I know that Dina is all over the place, and she's really good at making sure that everyone is aware on social media. She's taking her photo op. She's bebopping all over town. Why would you be better than Dina Titus?
Wow, there's so many different things that I have to bring to the table that Dina can never have. One of them, for the constituents that don't know, the district is about 44% Hispanic, and I grew up in the district, so I actually have such a diverse background that I can represent everybody in the district. It is the most diverse district that we have in Nevada, because not only does it have people of different ethnic origins, but it also spans the gambit as far as income. So we need someone that has actually lived throughout all that experience to be able to represent people there.
Now, the thing that is definitely going up against you is the fact that I think Democrat registration versus Republican, it's more than 2 to 1, I believe. So how do you plan to welcome in the Democrats into your message?
Well, you know what? This is America, and our Congress has to represent us, the American people. I do not treat, as a physician, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, or Green Party. I treat people. That's the truth, and that's what we need to carry in our mind as we go to the voting box and we cast our ballot, is who is the best person that can represent us in this race.
Are you saying that you can represent Hispanics better because you're Hispanic and that Dina Titus can't?
You know what? I guess you would have had to live in what I did, because here's some things that I had an experience that Dina has never had. Number one, I come from a low-income family, so I had to struggle for everything I got. When I went to Bishop Gorman, which is more expensive than UNLV, my whole family pitched in. My grandparents, please forgive me if I get a little emotional because they passed on, my aunt, they all pitched in so that I could attend the school, and I worked so that I could attend the school because of the academic things. I believe strongly in education. That's how I'm here in front of you today. So when I say that I can represent the district, I know the hardships that day-to-day people go through to make it so that their children can have a better future. That's what America's about. Dina Titus didn't have that. I'm sorry to say she lacks in that area. The other thing is, when you're able to communicate with people in their language, in their culture, it broadens your perspective. Who better? You're speaking to me. Would you say that I'm a Spanish speaker, that I'm an English as a second language learner? No. But you know what? When people can sit down with me in the district and explain their problems and give me their suggestions in their own language, that's powerful. So she can't compete with me there. There are more things. I've also worked on both sides of the aisle in the state legislature trying to pass good health care policy. So I know what's important to each and every legislator.
Again, not in any way to diminish your story, which is obviously impressive, but I think Congresswoman Titus came from fairly modest means, I believe in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, and moved here. And there are many in the Hispanic community who say that she's been a very effective representative, not only for Hispanics, but for everybody. How do you respond to that?
I respond to that by saying they haven't met me yet. But here's the issue. When you say things like that, you're making very general statements. I got the endorsement for Hispanics in politics. I'm the one who's lived in the community. I'm their success story.
In fact, Dina's made a very interesting comment, and I'd like to play that when we come back.
All right, we can do that.
Dealing with Hispanics in politics.
We are here with Annette Teijeiro. Stay with us. And welcome back. We're here with Annette Teijeiro, the Republican running against incumbent Democrat Dina Titus in Congressional District 1. I wanted to play something. Recently, Congresswoman Titus was on KNPR State of Nevada talking about your endorsement from Hispanics in politics. Take a listen.
Recently, the political group Hispanics in Politics awarded its endorsement in Congressional District 1 to your Republican challenger, Dr. Annette Teijeiro. How do you think that will affect your campaign?
Well, it's a very small group. I'm not too worried about it. I think I'm very well known in that community, and this little small group's not going to make any difference. They're saying that she can represent the Hispanic community because she's Hispanic. That's very racist, and also it doesn't make any sense because then that's saying she can't represent anybody else.
So that's Congresswoman Titus on KNPR. Your response to that?
My response is I'm very disappointed if that's the way that she feels, because I believe that I can represent the community better, not only on the fact that I'm a Hispanic, but you got to understand, when I worked my way through college and I worked my way through high school, I worked in the casino industry, so I understand what the workers go through. I have an extensive medical experience, so those are things that I bring to the table. That's why Hispanics in Politics voted for me, not just because I understand their language, but because I'm such a diverse individual and I'm able to bring all the points of view to the table.
And I find it interesting that every Democrat who was not endorsed this go around by Hispanics in Politics all used the same terminology of, oh, it's a small group, doesn't really matter so much. Yeah. So, yeah.
Almost like it's a talking point.
Right.
Let me move on. Let's talk about what you would do if you're elected. Let's talk about some of the issues. Obviously, Ebola right now is really
huge.
top of mind. You're a doctor. I mean,
That's
so you're
right.
a medical professional watching this. What should the administration, what should the government be doing differently than it's doing right now to try to get out in front of this?
I'm so glad that you asked me that, because that's the difference. That is a key difference that I have with Dina Titus. Look, I'm a physician. I understand what an outbreak means. I understand that this virus is deadly. It carries a mortality rate of 50 to 90%. That's huge. Our administration currently is going and appointing a gentleman who's an attorney. And don't get me wrong.
That's the Ebola czar that you're talking about? Mm-hmm.
Yes. We have a whole Department of Health and Human Services deal with healthcare issues. But you appoint someone who's an attorney. Don't you think, if I asked your viewers who they would go to if they needed to have somebody taking care of their health interests in an outbreak like this, I would venture to say that most of them would say they would want a physician.
So do you think that position is necessary, just maybe it needed to be filled by an actual physician? Is that what you're saying? Or is the position not necessary at all?
Look, I'm not back there to look at all the micromanagement. It does seem odd that you would have to appoint someone else to be doing something that the Department of Health and Human Services should be doing. Someone even in the CDC, that you need another position, kind of raises the suspicion for me on the cronyism. This person used to be in the VP's staff. So are we just creating a position for the look and appeal of it? Or are we really going to do what's necessary to make sure that Americans are protected?
We're talking about Ron Klain, who was Vice President Joe Biden's, I think, Chief of Staff, and he's been in Democratic administrations. He's there, according to the administration, because he's very effective, really within the bureaucracy, trying to marshal resources, and really would be a very good point person. So that's what they're saying about
That's what they're saying.
putting Ron Klain there. Do you think we have an outbreak in this country of Ebola? How would you characterize what we have going on in the United States?
We are at extreme risk. It is risky to ignore this situation. Right now, you have to understand it from my vantage point. I'm an American citizen too. This is scary to have this kind of a mortal disease on our doorstep, so to speak. And here's the things that we need to keep in mind. There are about 18 physicians in Congress. There's 173 attorneys in Congress. Now, if we don't have the proper resources and people that are writing legislation or passing legislation, we're going to end up passing the wrong legislation. I would venture to say that we did on health care. We failed. We passed the ball. We did things that we shouldn't have done. We need a much more diverse Congress that represents our people, the entire nation.
Real quick, on Ebola, some of your fellow Republicans are calling for a ban on travel to this country from West Africa. Do you support that?
I support the fact that we do need to quarantine this disease. This is not personal. This virus does not attack people because they're Republican, Democrat, independent, white, any other ethnicity or religion. What it does is it just wants to reproduce inside of a host body.
So does that
so
mean,
if that means that that's what we have to do to keep people that are infected away from us, then that's what has to be done.
Okay.
I'd like to go ahead and just change the subject back to immigration. We were discussing Hispanics and politics earlier, and I know that they've wanted to pass legislation dealing with immigration laws. And Hugh Jackson, who is a commentator from the left, had a question. He asked, should the House vote on the immigration reform bill that already passed the Senate and that Dean Heller voted for? And given the chance, would you vote for that bill?
Now, here's the key crux in that matter. I think that Americans spoke strongly about the fact that they did not like the Senate bill. I think we need to go into conference committee, look at the things that the American people want. It is the House of Representatives for a reason. So we need to look at what it is that people wanted to pass. Perhaps there were things in there that were really objectionable. Perhaps it wasn't strong on some other areas. I do not know what my constituents want exactly. I will share with you on a personal level. I have had immigration in my family because my father came from Cuba. And that's the only reason that I exist today, because he never wanted to come out of his country to live in the U.S., but he did. And he met my mom, who's a lovely Puerto Rican woman, and the rest is history. However, I did not meet my paternal grandparents or my aunt until I was 5. Try explaining to a young child why they can't meet their family members, why there are problems, and there are problems in our current immigration system. We cannot continue to turn a blind eye on human trafficking, sex trafficking, and drug trafficking that happen.
What do you think should be done with all of the thousands of juveniles and young people, the refugees from Central America who came here over the summer to escape what they were escaping in Central America? What should be done with them?
Very complex issue. But America cannot be, it's like having a boat, a huge ocean liner in the middle of the sea. If we were going to take every single passenger from every single boat from everywhere and take them onto the boat would capsize. However, there are things that we can do in their countries of origin to stabilize their economies to help. We have to create the win-win. The win-win is not dumping them onto our ship and watching everybody sink. We
have to take a break right now. You get the last point. When we come back, you're watching What's Your Point? Stay with us.
Absolutely.
And welcome back. We're here with Annette Teijeiro, the Republican running to unseat Dina Titus in Congressional District 1. We should note, by the way, we do have Dina Titus on this program next Friday, so you can tune in and get the other half of the argument, I guess, is what that would be. You get the last point. You are our guest again. Thanks for coming on our program today.
Thank you, thank you. It's too bad that Dina isn't here today, because I really do think that we need a debate so that we can share what it is that we believe, so the people out there can see what the differences are. But hey, look, I cannot compete with Dina Titus on the fact that she's a multimillionaire. She has tons of PAC money from special interests. I don't have any of those things. What I do have is my experience. And I bring that, my medical experience, growing up in a low-income family, watching and making solutions happen, win-win, in the state legislature. Those are things that I bring to the table. And please, if you can help, AnnetteForCongress.com. You can go there, peruse the website. It's in Spanish, it's in English, and I wish it was in Tagalog, but I haven't gotten quite there yet. So, and you can call my office, 702-689-8993. Or you can even send me an email through the website. You can watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and watch me tweet.
I think you got that all covered. Good job.
All right, anyway, I don't know if Dina Titus is a multimillionaire. Is she a multimillionaire? I don't know.
According to her disclosures, she's worth $3 to $9 million, yes.
Okay, well, I stand corrected, but news to me anyway.
The things that we learn daily.
It's the election, Congressional District 1. Go vote. Again, Dina Titus here next Friday. I'm Jeff Gillen, along with Amy and Annette Teijeiro. Thanks for watching.